And now, another You Can't Comp This episode highlight.
This next tweet came from @RunGoodLife. The industry is crashing. The industry is crashing. A card pulled from a $500 box in 2017 only sold for $138,000. I repeat, a piece of cardboard with some ink on it only sold for $138,000. So focused on the 3-year rise and fall that you don't see how up we are over 5 years. And I know Twitter is not always a healthy space, and I also know that Twitter can be an echo chamber. So this is clearly echoing my own thoughts, but I couldn't go past this tweet to bring it up to discuss it, because I think you do hear people saying from time to time, oh, the hobby's crashing, the hobby's in such a bad way. But I think this is a really good, reality check of that. And then the second thing I'd like to raise too is when you go to a day like EJ Traders Cards and there's so many people there you can't get a seat, you don't have anywhere to put your boxes to look through the cards, and you're constantly sidestepping people all day.
Yeah.
I find it very difficult to be convinced that the hobby is dying and the hobby is crashing and everything's so doom and gloom.
Yeah.
So,
I look, I love the Chicken Little impression.
yeah.
It's interesting, and look, our lovely friend, the collectibles guru.
You can't go past Eric, by the way.
Yeah. Now he talks about a card going on a wild ride. Given that it's a 2017 card, can we see the whole ride? I think that's what Chicken Little's trying to say, and by Chicken Little, I'm referring to Run Good Life. But
you've hit it on the head. That's exactly right. So Eric's looking at a very short time frame, and
that's narrative driving. That's very much narrative driving.
Right. And so, as much as I love Eric, I think the criticism for Eric is sometimes that he does try to create narratives that maybe aren't there.
Yep. Oh, look, and the train that left the station about a year ago is the hobby is screwed. Everybody's jumping ship.
But to defend Eric for 2 seconds, though, on this particular card, what he's presented is actually 100% accurate.
Correct. No, yeah. I'm just saying it's the narrative behind it.
Definitely.
The reporting of the data is tip top and spot on.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, give us the whole story. Don't give us chapter 7 of the book. Do you know what I mean? Like, and this is not a 7-chapter book either. So,
yeah. Look, it does depend on where you get on and get off at the train station, right? Because
I love the train analogy.
Like if you're the person who hopped on at 840,000, hopped off at 630, that's a dip. And if
you jumped on at 138k, you're like, woo!
Yeah, but if you hopped on at 630 and jumped off at 138, that's brutal.
It is, but got to be reason to sell at that price, right?
I got to tell you though, the $2 and $3 cards that I buy out of like dollar bins, I'm not feeling so bad about losing 50% on them. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm doing all right, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, my $400 Jamarant's now worth $200.
Yeah, I know.
There's a guy that just lost $500,000 on a deal.
Yeah. That's.
Now I'm not laughing at the person that lost the money. No, I'm laughing at the fact that I lost $200.
It's the totality of it.
It's just look, I think we all know that the hobby is experiencing a correction, a dip, whatever we want to call it. But it's the ebb and flow of history. These things happen with collectibles.
Yep.
But over time, they trend up. They always trend up. And I think we said it through about the COVID spike, the infamous COVID spike. People were paying 10-year prices because the demand was so high.
Yeah.
And the demand will increase again. There will be demand again. It's a supply-demand industry, so
hold that thought, what you just said then, because that actually leads us into our next segment absolutely perfectly.
Yep.
Fanatics continued to push into the collecting space, acquires PWCC.
What a
So
move.
if you aren't familiar with who PWCC is, they're essentially an auction house,
Mm-hmm.
and they have had some critics of terms of running listings of trimmed cards and the like, but there's also a lot of people that think extremely highly of them, and also how safe of a platform it is and how efficient it is in terms of getting your items in and out. They
Yeah.
also offer a vault, and I don't know if they're still offering this, but they also offer a service where you essentially put your items into their vault, and then you borrow money off that, and then you could buy and sell more
Mm.
cards off that. So yeah, they also offer that.
It's a ballsy move, isn't it?
Well, if we remember back to the manifesto,
Mm.
their vision was that they would be a
One
one-stop shop.
one stop shop.
And this to me just, I don't think we need to analyze this very much further.
You reckon they'll
This is
offer trimming services as part of their one stop shop?
Oh, that's Eric. Eric offers that. If he is employed by Fanatics, he'll be trimming those cards up like crazy.
That's all right. He's been selling a lot of kits. There might be available trimmers out there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, what you were just talking about then in terms of money. So, at the
Mm.
bottom of that ESPN article that I linked
Yep.
in 2021, global sports memorabilia market, including trading cards, was valued at $26 billion. By 2032, it's expected to eclipse 220 billion. No company has a bigger footprint in that space or stands to in the coming years. And they're talking about Fanatics in that instance.
Wow.
So that's food for thought, isn't it?
That's like that's crazy. That's 10xing in 10 years basically, right?
Yeah.
It's
And look, I'm a little
but we
bit
did we,
dubious.
we spoke about 10-year prices.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm a bit dubious of that number personally, but at the same time, look, even if you have a 10% rise, that's still okay. Let's call
Look,
it.
if they get halfway there and they get to 110 billion,
I was going to say, what if we get to 30 billion? That's still juicy.
but half of the predicted
Yeah,
value
sure.
is
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
wow.
It's still
Like
wild, isn't it? Yeah. It's
we
hard
only
to get
got
your
to
head around.
50% of our forecast.
Yeah.
Oops, you're only doing over $100 billion.
Yeah. So
Like crazy, yeah.
the little nugget that I read in here, though, is that Fanatics also bought PointsBet for $150 million, which essentially is a sports betting and digital
Mm-hmm.
casino. So,
Are they the one that Shaq does?
I mean,
PointsBet?
Shaq endorses
Yeah.
everybody, so I think that's a very
Oh,
loose
yeah.
arrow
Allen
to draw,
Iverson?
but okay. I don't know.
I
Probably.
don't know. I don't know. We're not endorsing betting apps, by the way. We're just checking.
No,
We're
and
fact checking.
we don't have sponsorship from
Yeah.
betting apps, and that's a decision that we made.
Very,
You
yep.
know. But I will add this is that I think that whether we like it or not, I think there is some crossover between gambling and sports cards due to the luck element of when you're opening up boxes, and also the dollars that we're handling. So
Yeah.
you can agree with me or disagree with me on that, but I think there is some parallels there. So they spoke about that the hobby market, Fanatics spoke about the hobby market hasn't been advertised enough, and I wonder if those two things will go hand in hand in terms of advertising and cross promotion and deals that can be made. So I think they're really thinking big picture here, and so I do have a little bit of struggle of understanding why Fanatics wants to own PointsBet, but at the same time, I can imagine how it could work together quite nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your
Interesting.
final thoughts on this ad?
I feel like we're looking at the tip of the iceberg, and that iceberg is big enough to sink something bigger than the Titanic. This Fanatics thing. We're what? Still 2.5 years out from the official sort of handover. Is it 25, 26 that they take effect? But you can just see the wheels are turning. The moves, they're not holding back. They are making moves, and they're making bold moves.
They're thinking big. I think that's the part.
I think what we used to think was a big move is about to be redefined. Like, you can see what Fanatics are doing.
Yeah.
It's
It's
it's going to be,
impressive.
it's impressive. It's exciting. It's going to be a brave new world. And look, those 10-year prices, maybe they're not as far fetched as we thought.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the collecting space once the handover sort of happens, because obviously the way it's managed will dictate how the market responds, how the people in the hobby respond.
Have to have an Andrew gaze into the future here.
Yes, Luke Longley with anticipation. Here is the way that you can get in touch with Russell and myself and be a bigger part of the show. Now, if you follow the link tree to our Facebook group, that is where Russell and I put our mailbags up, our card versus card, our player versus player, our buy, hold, sell questions. All of those will go up on socials, on IG as well, using the handle @YouCan'tCompThis. Now, if you do have a more tailored question, feel free to PM us on Instagram. You can reach out in our Facebook group, and we'll be happy to respond and see if it's something that we can add to the show. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate the support and love creating this content for our loyal listeners. If you haven't done so already, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. So hopefully we see you when we go live. Thanks for watching.